Shalom, and welcome to this week's latest installation of a Bisseleh Torah. Thanks for returning, coming back to peer at the Sidra that we are looking at this week, called Aharay. And it begins on a very sad note where the two sons of Aaron, names were Nadav and Avihu, died in a terrible conflagration of fire where they instantaneously died. Rashi makes a very odd commentary on the opening passage of this Torah reading. He says, if you go to a doctor because you're ill, and the doctor prescribes lying down or walking, if the doctor prescribes drinking hot liquids or taking cold ones, one should listen to the doctor. Presumably the doctor's got experience as well as greater knowledge than we have, and we should listen to the advice and then follow it to the T, so that hopefully we will be restored back to our health. Why Rashi gives this comment on this passage is because that's how he perceives Nadav and Avihu, again the two sons of Aaron that died. They took matters into their own hands by being overzealous. They were the two sons of Aaron, the chief priest, the Kohen Gadol, and they had a privileged status in society. Maybe that was the reason why they thought they could embellish what the Father and what God had indicated they should do for the sacrifices and the rites that were to be done by Bnei Israel, expedited by them. And maybe they just took things a little bit too far instead of following the letter of the law. You know, you, I, we all are the inheritors of a great long chain of tradition. Sometimes it feels like we're alone, that we don't have all the forebears that came before us. But in actuality, they live inside of you. All of those vast generations, thousands of years of generations of cumulative knowledge, they are there inside of you, waiting to be explored and discovered. We don't have to invent things ourselves. And sometimes when we go out of our way to try to create something anew, something that we think is going to be superior to anything that's known before, we discover, alas, maybe not us, maybe our children, that it was an endeavor that only fed our own ego. Instead of following the path of our forebears, treading the path that they had studied and carefully cultivated before us, and discovering the vast richness that inheres in that. So perhaps the sin of Nadav and Avihu was simply believing that they could do better. Sometimes we can, and it's not good to quash our inventiveness and our ability to be able to think beyond the parameters of what we have been instructed and taught. But be careful how we tread. Don't forget the place that you come from. Don't forget the lineage that you stem from and the traditions that have been handed down throughout the generations that rightly belong in your heart and your hands and in your hearth. These are the things that ultimately made us who we are, and to jettison them is to lose the vast treasure of the ages. Shabbat Shalom.